Hello and welcome back to SnowRunner, y'all, and in this video, we are going to be checking out a brand new Squarebody pack by Glitchworks. Now, this one is obviously the Suburban variant of this pack, although you can run everything from a Suburban body style all the way over to a extended cab and a single cab long bed. Now, all of the different add-ons kind of have their own place within each one of these varieties, but what's really cool about the way Glitchworks has structured this pack is that Glitchworks has tried to make sure that almost as many add-ons as possible work with as many varieties of the build as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take y'all into the garage. We're going to walk you through all of the customization options, and then we're going to get this thing out on some trails, see what it's all about. And of course, if y'all have any specific versions of this build that y'all would like to see, let me know in the comments down below. But before we get it into the garage, let me fire it up for y'all so y'all can hear what it sounds like, because it sounds not only really good, but it has a very period correct sound that I think y'all are really gonna like. You see what I mean about how it has the very period correct startup and idle sounds? I think the sounds on this thing work really well for it. So let's go ahead and recover on into the garage. And another thing just to make sure to note about this thing is that if you want access to all of the wheels and tires, make sure you also have Glitchworks Scout wheel and tire package installed as well, which I will of course have linked in the description box down below. Now, your engine options are going to be a 350, a 454, and a built 454. Gearboxes, you got the standard Glitchworks fare, 5-speed, 6-speed, and 4-speed. Suspension-wise, you've got normal, medium, and high. And the high is not only the highest option, but it's also going to be your more trailing focused, crawler focused option if you want to do something like that. So, tires wise, you have actually a really long list ranging all the way from very vanilla style tires all the way up to chained tires, mud tires, just about whatever you might want. Now, I personally have been pretty keen on running the mud category tires. I prefer the MT Pros. On this thing, I think they look the best in 39, but again, tire size and the way you build a vehicle are super subjective, and it's all down to what you personally like. Winches, you've got a stock winch, which is basically vanilla game. You have stage 2, 3, 4, and OP, which is basically as close to max length as you can probably get, I would assume, and then maximum strength as well, or at least close to as far as the strength can go. Now, body style is where this gets really interesting, because right now we have the Suburban body, but that can also be swapped out for the extended cab and the single cab long bed. And the coolest thing about this is that it doesn't change anything about the add-ons that we already had, like our repair crate, our spare tire, our jerry cans, our spare extra spare tire, our secondary spare tire on the back. So all of that will stay. So again, you can go through all of these options and just keep everything, which I think is amazing. And it also changes the interior as you go along, which that is another really cool feature of this thing that I love. Also, the just rather I don't know, the classic truck nerd in me is all about the fact that this thing is a manual. I would love a manual transmissions square body Suburban of this generation. I would probably swap a diesel into it, but I think it'd be an amazing overland build. So now we're going to go ahead a little bit further on and go through some of the other features that I think are not only really very highly attention to detail focused, but just cool. So for example, you can actually badge it as a K10, a 20, or a 30, and then you also have other trim level options. You have the Charlotte trim level, which is going to be your top trim, the Savannah trim level, which is going to be your mid trim, and of course the Yosemite trim level, which is going to be basically your work truck trim. So snorkel wise, you can go ahead and throw that on if you want to. The trails we're going to be doing today don't really have any water crossings, so we're not really going to need it. And then the front bumper, you've got everything from stock to a push bar to a lighted bumper to a stinger setup. And then of course you have have all of the wheels and tires that come included in the Glitchworks wheel and tire package. So now you get to basically pick your color and, of course, your accessories. And now we can finally get this thing out on some trails. Now, normally, I wouldn't spend that long in the garage going through everything, but I figured this thing needed it. And not only did it need it because there's so many options to go over, and we really didn't even go over all of them, but like the biggest thing with this is that it is entirely focused on giving you the choice in customization, the choice in basically having 3 trucks in one. And it's pretty much the SnowRunner equivalent of being able to go into a Chevy dealer in the 80s and order whatever vehicle you wanted. Now, one other thing that I did not mention when I was in the garage was that this thing actually has the ability to change the front end as well. The front end that we have at the moment is an 85, but that can also be swapped out basically entirely at your desire. Now, oh, look at this interior though. That looks so good. And you actually have a working speedometer too. This thing is nuts. And not only is it amazingly detailed, but it's amazingly detailed for the fact that it is pretty low RAM usage, and also the fact that you get basically 3 trucks in one mod. I think people on not only just consoles in general, but on either older or maybe like less high performance consoles, they're really gonna like the fact that there's pretty much 3 different trucks in one mod. And I think that that's gonna go a long way to really like why people will enjoy this thing in the long run. Let's make our way just a little bit further down. There's a network of trails that I want to hit that I think this thing will do really well on, but I want to try it on a muddy hill climb. Now, normally I wouldn't take a vehicle like this to a muddy hill climb, but I think this one in particular will do a really good job. Now, this hill might not look like much, but I promise y'all, it's a lot more than it looks. All right, let's go ahead and put this thing in low. And, oh, I should have gone for the 4-speed, shouldn't I? Well, not having the 4-speed is gonna be fun. Let's go. Diff lock always on. Well, I guess not having the 4-speed isn't gonna be that big of a deal. Well, remember how I said it was not gonna be that big of a deal that we don't have the 4-speed? Yeah, maybe that's a bigger deal than I thought. We're making a little bit of progress. It's not the best, but it's also not the worst. Almost there. Come on. Well, I say, it wasn't quite a total rollover. Wasn't quite a total rollover. We're gonna be okay though. I promise. I promise. See, okay, so long as you don't bottom it out, you're fine. If you bottom it out though, you're basically in for it. You're basically about as in for it as you can possibly be if you bottom it out. Although, for having the highway transmission, I'm pretty impressed at how well it did through there, considering how steep that was and how muddy it was, providing that, yes, I did absolutely make a driver error and flip it over. That part we won't worry about. That part we will absolutely gloss over. But, you know, don't worry about it. We will fix that on the next run. I think, though, overall, thing rips. Let me see if I can... Ooh! It gets going! Like, it gets up to speed so much faster than you might think. I actually have to be really careful with it because with the highway gearbox, like, you'll go from first to, like, fourth in almost no time at all, and that can be almost sketchier than having something that just has a lot of power, because you'll go from very little speed to a lot of speed in pretty much no time. Now, this is the first time I've had it out in some rocks. Let's see if it can kind of find its own line. I gotta say, the long wheelbase is both it's both good and bad at the same time. You have people that really like to wheel this style of rig, and you also have people that really don't like to wheel this style of rig. I personally think wheeling a full size is really, really cool because there's so many so many different lines you can take in a full size that you might not have access to in something smaller like a Jeep. But at the same time, yes, there are absolutely going to be scenarios that limit the capabilities of something so large and something so long. Come on. Give it a little bit more beans up the hill. Yeah, this thing is amazing. It really does not only get down in terms of speed, but it also is just such a good, like, multi-use vehicle. Like, you could use this as a scout in the campaign mode. You could use it on, like, trail riding maps. You could use it on, I don't know, a mudding map. You could use it in just about whatever scenario and still have a really, really good time. But if y'all enjoyed this look at this brand new truck pack, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I will see y'all next time.